The truth is far more fascinating and more advanced than most people realize. In today's video, we'll uncover the hidden systems the Amish use to generate electricity completely off-grid, from solar panels tucked behind barns to diesel hydraulic hybrids and century-old 32-volt microgrids still running strong. You'll learn how these communities legally sidestep modern regulations and quietly build an independent energy network that most of the world never sees. Number 1. Ordnung over outlets. In every Amish community, life is guided not just by religious beliefs, but by a carefully crafted document called the Ordnung. This is not a static set of laws, but a living framework that each church district updates to reflect its own understanding of how to live faithfully. One of the core rules universally upheld across almost all Amish settlements is the absolute prohibition against connecting to the public electric grid. But this ban goes much deeper than just avoiding a utility bill. It's about maintaining a clear boundary between the Amish way of life and the broader outside world, which they see as full of cultural dangers that could erode their values and their tightly knit communities. Having a hardwired connection to the grid would mean welcoming maintenance crews onto their land, having to manage monthly payments to outside corporations, and perhaps most concerning, opening themselves up to influences they cannot control, from television broadcasts to internet access. This resistance has been legally protected for decades. In 1972, the U.S. Supreme Court case Wisconsin versus Yoder ruled that Amish communities have the right to opt out of many mainstream mandates in order to preserve their religious way of life. This landmark decision built a powerful shield around the Ordnung, giving Amish groups strong legal footing to resist public utilities, school mandates, and certain social programs. In the decades since, several states have passed laws that specifically allow Amish homes to be approved for occupancy even if they lack the wiring required by the National Electrical Code. Pennsylvania's 2001 law and Wisconsin's 2015 budget amendment are just two examples where lawmakers have recognized the unique needs of the Amish and carved out legal space for them to live according to their Ordnung. This framework allows Amish families to avoid being forced into technological modernization they fundamentally reject. While most Americans are required to have hardwired smoke detectors, lighted exit signs, and full house wiring to pass building inspections, Amish homes can be legally occupied with kerosene lamps, battery-powered smoke alarms, and without any permanent electric wiring. By choosing to live without direct electrical connections, the Amish maintain a clear, visible separation from modern society. They also continue to model a form of extreme self-sufficiency, where homes, businesses, and even entire communities can operate without reliance on external energy providers. In practice, this separation reinforces Amish identity daily. Without televisions, radios, smartphones, or internet connections beaming into their homes, Amish families spend their evenings reading, singing, sewing, or visiting neighbors face-to-face. Children grow up immersed in their community's traditions without the distractions or cultural pressures of the outside world. Adults maintain old skills like woodworking, quilting, farming without high-tech equipment that root them in both faith and practical self-reliance. The Ordnung and its strict ban on public electricity is a foundation that helps the Amish sustain their way of life even as the world around them becomes increasingly interconnected and dependent on modern technologies. By shielding themselves in this way, the Amish quietly offer a living example of a different path, a life less shaped by consumer culture, digital addiction, and the noise of constant information. Their communities prove that it is possible even today to live richly and well without plugging into the public grid. Number 2, the 32-volt time capsule. Across Amish country, especially in older settlements, you'll find homes that operate on a completely different electrical system than anything used by their non-Amish neighbors. Instead of the standard 120-volt AC power that runs through American homes, many Amish houses quietly hum along on old-fashioned 32-volt DC microgrids, a technology that dates back to the early 20th century. Originally introduced by companies like Delco Light, these systems allowed rural homes to have some basic electrical conveniences before national grid expansion. Today, in Amish homes, they function as living time capsules. small, self-contained systems that still meet daily needs without linking to modern infrastructure. The setup is beautifully simple and incredibly effective. A small wind turbine, sometimes vintage, sometimes custom-built, captures wind energy and charges a battery bank hidden in a shed or basement. When the wind dies down, some families supplement with a belt-driven generator powered by a small diesel engine. Decades ago, kerosene lanterns and gasoline engines were fallback options when batteries drained. But modern Amish households that maintain these systems have benefited from the leap in energy efficiency that new technologies offer. Thanks to the extremely low power consumption of LED lighting and efficient motors, the old 32-volt setups can now easily support basic lighting, small appliances, and even modest refrigeration without requiring constant attention or huge amounts of energy. Inside these homes, you'll find an entire ecosystem of specially built appliances designed to run on 32 volts. Sewing machines, blenders, ceiling fans, and even refrigerators are modified or custom-built to operate on low-voltage DC. These aren't products you find in big-box stores. Instead, they come from a network of small-time Amish and Mennonite craftsmen who build and repair these niche devices. Their goods are advertised not through websites but through simple flyers posted at auction barns or circulated by word of mouth within the community. Because these systems are completely isolated from the national power grid, they escape the regulatory web that comes with grid-tied electrical setups. No meters, no inspections, no billing. For Amish families, this isn't just a convenience. It's a critical part of maintaining autonomy. It lets them enjoy selective uses of modern technology without surrendering control or opening their homes to outside influence. It also ensures that in times of disaster, like storms or power outages that leave whole towns without electricity, Amish homes continue to function normally. Maintaining and repairing these systems requires hands-on skills, which are often passed down through generations. Fathers teach sons how to service a generator, troubleshoot a wiring fault, or rebuild a battery bank using salvaged parts. It's a different relationship to technology, not as passive consumers, but as active maintainers and builders. This knowledge strengthens community ties and reinforces the values of patience, thrift, and ingenuity. For the Amish, these old 32-volt systems aren't outdated relics. They're living proof that you can embrace certain technologies thoughtfully, tailoring them to serve your way of life instead of letting them reshape you. Number 3. Pneumatic power lines. Step inside an Amish workshop, and the first thing that strikes you isn't the smell of fresh wood or the sight of hand-built furniture. It's the sound. Instead of the whine and buzz of electric motors, you'll hear the rhythmic chuff-chuff of compressed air rushing through hoses and powering tools. The Amish have perfected an alternative power system that allows them to operate sophisticated workshops without ever violating the Ordnung's strict ban on electricity from the public grid. This system relies on diesel-powered air compressors and a network of steel pipes that serve as pneumatic power lines, feeding every workstation with the mechanical energy needed for sawing, drilling, sanding, and painting. At the heart of the system is a massive diesel or biodiesel engine connected to a heavy-duty air compressor. The compressor fills a central steel manifold, often mounted overhead along the workshop ceiling. From this pressurized line, flexible rubber hoses drop down at each workbench or tool station. Craftsmen simply plug in their pneumatic saws, drills, nail guns, sanders, and paint sprayers. The compressed air does the work, spinning blades and driving pistons with remarkable force. Because this system doesn't involve any copper wires or direct electric connection, it sidesteps the Ordnung's concerns about grid dependency and cultural contamination. Pneumatic tools offer serious advantages in an Amish setting. They tend to be more durable than electric ones, with fewer moving parts to break or burn out. They're safer too. There's no risk of electrical shock, and no sparks, an important feature in woodworking shops where sawdust floats in the air and can easily ignite. If a hose tears or a fitting breaks, it's a simple fix. Hoses are inexpensive, easy to replace, and don't require licensed electricians to install. Moreover, pneumatic systems are highly scalable. A single 25 horsepower diesel engine can provide enough compressed air to run multiple workstations simultaneously. In larger shops, you might see several compressors hooked together, ensuring continuous pressure throughout long working hours. Because compressed air can be stored in large receiver tanks, there's also a built-in buffer. If an engine stalls or needs maintenance, work can often continue for an hour or two without interruption. Economically, pneumatic power makes sense for Amish businesses. Diesel engines are relatively cheap to maintain, and many Amish families have the skills to rebuild and service them themselves. The engines can run on biodiesel made from crops grown on their own land, further reducing outside dependencies. This not only saves money, but reinforces self-reliance. The ability to produce energy from within the community, rather than buying it from corporations. Using compressed air as a primary energy source is a perfect example of Amish ingenuity. It demonstrates how, with creativity and commitment to principle, they can navigate modern demands, like running successful woodworking businesses, without abandoning their deep cultural and religious roots. Their workshops are a living model of how technology can be adapted, constrained, and made to serve human needs rather than dominate human lives. Number 4. Solar panels hidden in plain sight. As you wander across Amish farmlands in Pennsylvania, Ohio, or Indiana, it quickly becomes clear that solar panels are becoming an invisible yet vital part of modern Amish life. Rather than mounting them visibly on rooftops, many Amish families discreetly install solar panels behind barns, lean-tos, or even mount them on movable trailers. These setups are carefully positioned to capture optimal sunlight while remaining low profile enough to avoid drawing attention from the road. The Amish preference for 12-volt or 24-volt direct current systems fits seamlessly with solar output, allowing families to charge battery banks that feed into LED lighting, low-voltage water pumps, phone chargers, and other small appliances. Crucially, because there's no connection to the public utility grid, most bishops approve the use of solar energy. Amish doctrine generally forbids any tether to outside infrastructure, but energy that's independently generated and used within the household passes muster. Financial practicality also plays a significant role. A modest 2-kilowatt solar array can pay for itself in under 3 years by eliminating recurring costs associated with kerosene for lighting or diesel for generators. Maintenance costs are minimal, and panels themselves often last 2 decades or more. Surveys suggest that between 50% and 70% of Amish households in Pennsylvania now use some form of solar power, whether small rooftop systems, trailer-mounted units, or hidden arrays tucked behind barns. Many have taken advantage of USDA Renewable Energy for America program RIPE grants, which reimburse up to 50% of equipment costs. Interestingly, grant paperwork typically lists recipients only by agricultural business names and locations, avoiding religious identification. Thus, Amish families can modernize quietly without public scrutiny. This practical, understated adoption of solar energy exemplifies the Amish knack for selectively integrating technology in ways that enhance their self-reliance without compromising their values. Number 5. Diesel, hydraulic, and belt drive hybrids. Energy use on Amish farms looks different from anything seen in typical rural America. Instead of plugging appliances into electric outlets, many Amish families depend on stationary diesel engines that drive hydraulic pumps or belt systems. A single diesel engine, often a restored vintage Listeroid or similar, sits in an outbuilding and powers various mechanical tasks around the property. A flat leather or rubber belt runs from the engine shaft to drive other machines. During the week, families rotate tasks based on need. Monday might be laundry day, with the engine powering a wringer washer. Wednesday could see it attached to a butter churn. Saturday evenings often involve running an ice cream freezer for large church gatherings. Hydraulics provide even greater flexibility, powering everything from log splitters to water pumps through a simple network of hoses. This system remains compliant with Amish Ordnung because it involves no hardwired electrical service and no connection to the public grid. These diesel engines are classified as non-road agricultural equipment, meaning they fall under relaxed Environmental Protection Agency (EPA) emission standards. A 6-horsepower hit-and-miss diesel engine consumes barely half a gallon of fuel per hour, especially when operated at steady, low RPMs. In many communities, homemade biodiesel from soybean or sunflower crops fuels these engines, reducing dependency on outside fuel markets. This form of energy generation is remarkably resilient. Power outages that cripple English farms have no impact on Amish families because everything critical, from laundry to food processing, runs independently. This system embodies the Amish emphasis on reliability, frugality, and minimizing dependence on modern, vulnerable infrastructure. Number 6, phone shacks and community chargers. Technology and the Amish have a complicated relationship, and telecommunication is a perfect example. While personal cell phones and in-home telephones remain prohibited in most communities, the necessity for communication led to the rise of phone shacks, small, simple structures located at the end of driveways or near barns. Inside these modest huts, you'll find a basic landline phone, sometimes paired with voicemail systems. Power for these setups often comes from a small solar panel feeding into a deep cycle battery bank. Older systems sometimes use tiny pneumatic generators driven by compressed air. By placing phones outside the home, the Amish maintain boundaries between daily domestic life and worldly influence. It also keeps use limited to essential communications like business arrangements or emergency calls, preventing casual or excessive use. Legally, these phone shacks are classified as customer-owned wiring, meaning no telecommunications permit or inspection is required under U.S. law. Beyond voice calls, these hubs often serve broader community energy needs. People bring 12-volt lantern batteries or tool battery packs to recharge from the solar-fed battery banks, allowing limited electric access without a permanent electric line. Some even use the system to maintain e-bike batteries or energize electric livestock fencing. This communal approach reinforces the Amish commitment to cooperation and mutual support, while embracing only the aspects of technology deemed necessary and manageable. Far from rejecting all modern advances, the Amish approach technology with careful consideration, weaving it into their lives on their own terms, and always preserving community integrity above convenience. Number 7, battery inverter workshops and quiet CNC. Amish entrepreneurship has evolved rapidly over the past 2 decades, particularly in woodworking and manufacturing. A growing number of Amish-run workshops operate sophisticated battery inverter systems to power their tools. At the core of these setups are massive 48-volt battery banks, often repurposed from retired electric forklifts. These industrial batteries offer a cheap, abundant energy storage option, allowing business owners to run demanding equipment without needing a grid hookup. The batteries connect to sine wave inverters that produce standard AC current, enough to drive CNC routers, laser engravers, computer tablets, and precision saws. Since the system is technically portable, it can be moved and doesn't involve permanent wiring, county inspectors usually treat it like farm machinery instead of a conventional electrical installation. This distinction allows Amish businesses to avoid most building code requirements related to electrical systems. For the Amish, it's a perfect balance. Technology that boosts business efficiency without entangling them in unwanted regulations or violating the ordnung. Workshops powered this way can produce exceptionally high-quality cabinetry, metalwork, and artisan products that rival or exceed what English manufacturers offer. Clients rarely realize that their custom kitchen cabinets or furniture pieces were crafted in shops running entirely off recycled industrial batteries. This quiet tech revolution within Amish industry highlights a fascinating blend of innovation and tradition, demonstrating how adaptability and adherence to core values can coexist without contradiction. Number 8. Loopholes, subsidies, and the quiet handshake. In rural America, regulatory loopholes often shape everyday life, and the Amish have quietly mastered the art of operating within these spaces. Thanks to decades of legal precedent supporting religious freedom, many state and county governments have carved out specific exemptions tailored to Amish needs. In some rural jurisdictions, building codes no longer require hardwired electrical systems, illuminated exit signs, or proof of utility connection for Amish homes to pass inspection. These exceptions allow Amish communities to build and live according to their faith, while technically remaining in compliance with state law. Judges in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and other states have upheld these carve-outs repeatedly, reinforcing that Amish religious practice outweighs regulatory uniformity. On the energy side, federal green energy programs like USDA's REP grants provide massive financial support for solar energy projects. Although public records list farm names and addresses, they don't flag recipients as Amish, avoiding political controversy. Regulators benefit by showcasing higher renewable energy adoption rates without stirring resentment over perceived favoritism. For Amish families, it's a win-win. They can expand solar infrastructure, improve energy resilience, and maintain traditional living standards without direct dependence on outside utilities. At its core, this quiet partnership reflects a mutual understanding. The Amish maintain their independence and community integrity, while government agencies meet their clean energy goals and respect religious freedoms. In an increasingly interconnected and regulated world, the Amish model offers a rare glimpse into how alternative ways of living can persist and even thrive under modern governance.